Factoring, Part 1, Common Factors. The technique I'm about to show you here is going to be true all of the time. You should always look for common factors when you're asked to factor problems. I'm going to start with the easy ones. Well, that's all I'm going to do are the easy ones. But the concept you learn here should be applied to anything. And I'll try to do one or two where it's not so obvious. Alright, so here, what I'm going to do is work out just a few examples. Okay, here's example 1. What we're looking at here is what's common between the two factors. Between the two terms. Okay, so here we have an x in both of them. Okay, and the language is confusing in textbooks. They will say, what is the greatest exponent they have in common? And some students will look at, well, the greatest exponent is 2, but that's not what they have in common. There isn't a 2 over here. So you can look at the smallest exponent where there are variables. Okay, that probably doesn't make really much sense either. But here, the variables are x, and the smallest exponent of x is 1. So that's really the common factor. So what we're going to do is take out the x. When I take an x out of x squared, what you're really doing is dividing x squared by x. What I'm going to do is write down what's going on in my head. I'm taking that term and dividing by x. When I divide x squared by x, I get x. So when I take the x out of x squared, that leaves me x. Okay, this is what I'm doing, basically dividing the term by. So at the same time, I'm taking the x out of minus 3x. So I'm basically dividing that term by x, leaving me negative 3. So it's minus 3. That's the factored form of x squared minus 3x. Doing it again, number 2. Doing another problem, rather. Alright, here, same thing with the x. But this time I have some coefficients I should examine. What number will go into both 2 and 14? Easy enough, 2. So it's 2x. So my common factor between these two terms is 2x. So what is 2x squared divided by 2x? Well, 2x squared divided by 2x is going to leave me just x. And minus 14x divided by 2x leaves me minus 7. If you're not sure if you did it correctly, try multiplying it back together. 2x times x, well, the only thing that gets multiplied is the x and x. X times x is x squared, so it's 2x squared. 2x times minus 7, and when the coefficients multiply this time, 2 times minus 7 is minus 14, and the x comes for the ride. So it'll be minus 14x. So that one's right. Example 3. Okay, this time I'm doing something different. Generally speaking, you do not want the leading coefficient here to be negative. It's okay for the thing out here to be negative, but inside, in the parentheses, we don't like it. Technically it's not wrong to have a negative in there, but in the future, when you start dealing with rational expressions or trying to add equations that have rational expressions, it's better to not have a leading coefficient being negative. I know that doesn't mean much to you now, and I'll remind you of it when we come to it later. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is take out not just an x cubed, I'm going to take out a negative with it. Now, there's no common factors between 4 and 3, so I'm going to leave the coefficients alone. So I'm going to take out a negative x cubed. When I take out an negative x cubed out of this, that's going to leave 4x. Right? The 4 is left alone. X to the 4th divided by x cubed leaves me just x. Here, the minus becomes a plus. I'm leaving the 3 alone. There's no coefficients being taken out. But taking x cubed out of x cubed, that just leaves me the 3. Okay. Basically, I'm dividing by x cubed, so it's basically negative 3 times 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. I'm saying that wrong. I took the negative out, so it should be positive 3. Okay, saying it again. I took minus x cubed out. So that takes the negative from the 4, leaving the 4. X cubed from x fourth leaves me x. taking the negative out of minus 3 gives me a positive 3. X cubed completely takes out, completely cancels out, leaving just a positive 3. Hopefully I didn't confuse you too much with that little mess in the middle. Alright. Minus 2x squared plus 8x. Now sometimes, well, here, this is the other example. Alright, here I have a common factor of 2. 2 goes into both 2 and 8. But again, I have that negative leading coefficient. So I want to take a negative out. So I'm going to take a negative 2 out along with an x. Right? There's an x in common. So I'm going to take a negative 2x out. When I take a negative 2x out of negative 2x squared, it leaves me just a positive x. When I take a negative 2x out of positive 8x, it's positive 8 divided by negative 2, making negative 4. And the x is completely canceled. So there's no x left. That's it for common factors. If you need more examples, just let me know. But I would suggest going through it again if you don't understand. See if you can figure it out. Sorry. Yeah, that was pretty stupid to say. Okay, bye.